Okay, is it all just a bunch of fake news? The other day, Duke University was hit with a $112 million lawsuit alleging that they basically made up a bunch of data in order to see federal grants affecting many studies. And so they were ordered to pay $112 million for basically making up data. They were doing studies with sometimes not even performing the studies, just pretending to do the studies, using falsified data. They were manipulating things to sound like they needed to be in order to get the money. This is not the first time this has happened. It's happened in many other times. There's a case in Brigham and Women's Hospital where basically some stem cell researchers were making up data to get grants. Marcia Angell, who was the first female ever to become the editor-in-chief of the New England Journal, retired recently and was saying that she no longer trusts the process at all around journals, and much of the evidence has been bought and paid for, manipulated, influenced, biased, and so there's all sorts of, unfortunately for the good scientists that are out there, there's a lot of stuff that call things into doubt, and even some of the data that well-meaning scientists use to get grants are often based on falsified data to start their research, and so there's all kinds of that going on. When we look at nutrition in general, so much of it is just based on epidemiology, which Professor John Anitis out of Stanford basically says it's completely worthless. It's not even worth doing because we don't learn anything from it. We see these studies repeated over and over again, and then we see some study about eggs being bad for us and carbs being bad, carbs being bad for us, and meat being bad for us, and coffee being bad for us. It's all based on this epidemiologic garbage, and so it becomes very difficult to know who to trust. And even as a physician, going through this, supposed evidence, trying to present it to your patients, you end up not knowing what's actually evidence-based and what's real evidence and what's made up news. And so it becomes very frustrating. It's one of the reasons I'm so much bigger on just, sharing results. And while many people often criticize anecdotes as just being that, in some cases the anecdotes are more powerful and more useful than some of these other studies that have been done, whether they're epidemiologic studies or they are studies that are, just totally fraudulent. And then the cry often is, well, the studies we would have to do are too difficult or too expensive to do, regarding nutrition, i.e. put people in a metabolic ward for 40 or 50 years, controlling every variable and isolating their diet. We can't do that, and so therefore we have to infer based on lesser data and so on and so forth and make recommendations. Well, I just don't think that's good enough, and I think there's other people out there that would agree with that, and that's why we have such a problem in this country and many others with so many sick people, because much of our science is problematic. I mean, there's some good things that have come out, but there are so many things that are mischaracterized, misrepresented, and sometimes even fraudulent. So on the sort of the good news front, I see there's a little bit of interesting to watch this carnivore community develop and people sort of going back and forth at each other. I remain agnostic about what's the best way to do carnivore and so on and so forth, and you got to do this and you got to do that. I still think we just need to look and see what the results are and then make our decisions based on that, rather than, because anytime you look in the literature and you find some novel mechanism, this particular biochemical pathways is stimulated by this particular thing, and therefore we must do this. We see it over and over again. And I say, well, let's see what the results are. Let's see what happens when you don't do that. Let's see what happens when you do that. Instead of, because we don't have the results yet. I mean, we have a bunch of people that are getting healthy, eating meat of all different types and all different types of schemes and varieties and concentrations. And so it's hard to make these broad prescriptions. I've interviewed and know a lot of people in the carnivore community, and I still see a lot of lack of a unanimous sort of system to say what you must do. And so I'm going to continue to be somewhat agnostic about it and just say, let's just see what works for people and give people some general guidelines and then go from there. What I am excited about is what's going to be called animalbasednutrition.com, and it is going to be a place where not only are we going to, provide for content around animal-based nutrition, carnivore-based nutrition, whether it's strict carnivore, or raw carnivore, or keto carnivore, or animal-based. I mean, the bottom line is we need to be eating more meat, and we need to make it the central part of the diet. And some people can tolerate some carbohydrates or some plant food. Some people can't. Some people do, better with it. Some people do better without it. I mean, it's debatable from person to person. But I do think our focus needs to be on animal food and obviously getting out the garbage. But beyond that, just the educational standpoint, and I've been really happy. Many of the people in the carnivore community have said they'd be happy to participate and contribute to that. So I'm very thankful for those people that have done that. And you guys know who you are, and you guys will be featuring them in the near future. But I'm also excited about, we've got a lot of the ranchers and producers getting on board, wanting to interact with this meat-based community, as we appreciate what they do, and we want to really get more rancher to consumer and skip the middleman of the processor, the big packing plants, the Tyson Foods and the Cargills, because at the end of the day, there's some problems with that. And I think long term there'll be even more problems. But for now, we're working on that. We're also looking at, bringing in people from the environmental side to educate us, bringing in people from the ethical side, that they understand that, so that when you get in there and then, maybe you want to do a carnivore diet so you can get ripped and get a nice looking six-pack or whatever, or lose 20 pounds and get in your bikini. But you get into this sort of community, and then you learn about these other issues. And then you can sort of understand what needs to be done. And then we're also including people from the policy standpoint. They'll be part of this community to further, political aspirations in, getting, while avoiding, all these meat taxes and restrictions in meat and things like that, and having our kids being forced to follow a plant-based diet. And so that's exciting. We're having recipes and a lot of things. It's been very, very nice. A lot of people offer to share the recipes and show how they cook, and so far it's been very nice, with lots of people volunteering to want to help and help people regain their lives since they've done it for them. So that's what I'm excited about. Hopefully we'll keep this a very positive movement, keep everybody on the same front, united, and and just go for it, because I think this is the right way to do it and the right thing to do. And I think rather than sort of fighting for a little scrap of pennies or something, a little scrap of your territory, we can get to a point where rather we're just coming together, and there's a concept of all ships rise when the tide is high, and I think by supporting each other and doing that as a community, I think we can really do something really positive, and we can really become an organized team. And I'm hoping to be someone that can hopefully catalyze some of that stuff. Anyway, I'm doing my best. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Look out for animalbasednutrition.com coming soon. Obviously, I'll be talking about it as we get near to rolling out. And again, I appreciate all the people that have volunteered to be part of this. If you're interested, shoot me an email. Sean, what is my email? I'll put it on the bottom on the link. It's bakersean67@gmail.com. Subscribe, like, all that good stuff, and we'll talk to you next time. Okay, take care, guys.